at the crack of noon. Layer the music and have a swoon. I can't stop thinking of your face. La la in the new maze. I'm 6 feet under the Bodhi tree with my crap new age philosophy. Diamonds where there once were stars. I'm sitting in Jane Mansfield's car. Yeah, yeah. I'm independent. Yeah, yeah. I'm borderline. Yeah, yeah. I'm California. My mind's all screwed and upside down, but my heart's on overdrive.
So, American PopStar Road to Celebrity is a game that I've been wanting to speak about for quite some time. And the more I sat there and ruminated about the idea of this game, the more astonished I became. Now, this is going to be a very scatterbrained video, as the more I thought about it, the more I realized how so many layers of what this game is encapsulates a lot of video ideas that I've wanted to sit here and speak to you lot with for quite some time, but I just either scrapped those videos or didn't feel like I didn't feel like the channel was the perfect place to talk about this. So excuse me if it feels like I'm all over the place. But let's talk about gaming. So growing up, if you were a person who was an avid person in arcades, you know that arcade machines used to be way more powerful than home console versions of the exact same game. Think of games like Street Fighter or other games that were also in arcades and also in home consoles like Street Fighter. I can't think of anything else. But you knew that the version of Street Fighter in the arcade was more powerful and better than the home console version. Home console versions being the versions like the ones on the Wii or like the N64 or PlayStation Original. Those are home consoles. Same thing with mobile games. So when I was growing up, this was before the advent of smartphones. If you were gaming on your phone, you were using a flip phone. And that wasn't really the best place to play games. So if you wanted to play mobile games, I was looking for my other one, but I can only find my 3DS right now. Actually, no, it's not that I can only find my 3DS. I just can't be asked to move from my spot right now. So if you wanted to play mobile games, you had to use either a DS and or a PSP. Those were the most powerful mobile game consoles? Mobile gaming systems. Because phones weren't smart at this point in history yet. And so this game, American PopStar Road to Celebrity, came out in 2009. What happened a year later on the internet? YouTube rolled out its partnership program. What is the partnership program on YouTube? Well, YouTube at this point in the 2000s was a site that people only uploaded on because they were passionate about something. The only people who uploaded YouTube videos back in those times were people who were just like teenagers to young adults just having fun with a camera, or the people who really pioneered what YouTube is today. They were people who were showing their acting abilities, their cinematography abilities, or their writing skills so that Hollywood or anything outside of YouTube in a more professional setting could see their videos and pick them up. People uploaded to YouTube to get off of YouTube. People would upload skits and comedy sketches so that they would be seen by traditional media, and lots of those people did. Lots of those people started their music careers from uploading on YouTube. A lot of people started their acting careers, their writing careers from uploading videos on this very site right here. But that all changed 2010, 1 year after this game came out. Did I say the YouTube Did I say the YouTube Partner Program gave people the ability to get paid? I'm not too sure if I said that, but if I didn't, the partnership program, which rolled out in 2010, allowed people finally the ability to get paid off of the YouTube videos. And it was only a select few people. It was only about like 50 or 100 so people were selected in this program. What changes 2 years after the partnership program? Well, the whole entire YouTube gaming geek meta hits. And we know for a fact that social media changes the way people perceive certain groups of people. I remember pre-2012, if you were a geek of any sort of form, if you liked video games, if you were into anime, if you were into comic book movies, you were considered an outcast. I didn't really get that. Even though I liked all of those things, I didn't really get that sort of treatment because my classmates actually liked me. I'm sorry. I mean, like they called me weird for liking anime or whatever, but I wasn't like shoved into lockers or like. People liked me, I guess. I don't know. But I remember people being like, anime's weird. Liking video games is weird. If you're into superhero movies, you must be a baby, because those are the only people who like that. After 2012, not only did movies like The Avengers just completely shift the whole entire cinema market, but the YouTube meta became gaming. So back in the day on YouTube, a lot of creators used to have this thing. They used to have multiple channels. They used to have like 8 channels. I wish I was exaggerating. They would have a main channel, a second channel, a vlog channel, a channel with their mother, a channel with their significant other, a channel for their dog, and then just another channel that was just for shits and giggles. I know that's 7. Yes, I'm aware. Ooh, I am bleeding. I'm aware that's 7, but I couldn't figure out. Just understand that back in like the mid 2000s, YouTubers had multiple channels, and by the 2010s, this style of YouTube had pretty much been axed out. And so the meta then in 2012. Remember the landscape of gaming in 2012. There were games like Slender coming out. There were games like The Walking Dead Season 1, The Last of Us Part 1, Grand Theft Auto 5 was a year away from releasing. The first Five Nights at Freddy's game was a year away from releasing. The 8th generation of console gaming, PlayStation 4 and Xbox Original, were completely on the horizon. That last sentence didn't really make sense, but I tried to style it out. Tell me if you noticed the hiccup there or not. And so a lot of these OG YouTubers of the 2000s changed one of their channels into a gaming channel. You saw a lot of the current day YouTube goats like Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, Markiplier get a lot of their popularity off of that 2012-2013 era style of YouTube gaming content. Why do I bring this up in this video? Because before this, kids my age used to say things like, oh, I want to be a pop star when I grow up. I want to be an actor, a singer. I want to be on TV. After the early 2010s, I would say this really started to happen in droves after 2015. You start seeing kids being born into a world, and they're, instead of saying, "Oh, I want to be famous, I want to be a pop star, I want to do this, I want to do that, this, that, and the third," you hear, "I want to be an influencer. I want to be a YouTuber. I want to do this, that, and the third. I want to be an Instagram model." What I'm saying is that this game is a time capsule of a complete different era, not only in pop culture, but gaming culture as well. Mobile gaming has completely just taken off. And if you want to play mobile games, you're not really looking for a DS now, and the PlayStation has no handheld consoles, has no handheld systems out anyways. So if you're looking for mobile games, you have it right there in your pocket. If you're making a game to market towards kids or like teens, you're not making a game about pop stars anymore. You're not making a game about becoming a movie star. This game in modern day would be called American Influencer Road to TikTok Star. When I think about that, it just completely blows my mind. It's like the 2000s is and forever will be my favorite era of anything. I mean, okay, well that was kind of a lie. If you really want me to go into it, so when it comes to movies, my favorite era is the 90s. When it comes to music and pop culture, my favorite era is the 2000s. When it comes to fashion, it's whatever the modern day era is, so the 2020s now, and I guess. But overall, I'm just completely in love and enthralled with the 2000s. I mean, it's the decade I was born in. Of course it's my favorite. And so let's talk about this game for a second. So, I'm sorry. So this game was put together by Gameloft. I don't know if Gameloft is still a very big developer in the mobile games market, but I do remember when I switched over to having a smartphone in 2014, 2013? I don't remember what year I got a smartphone. Somewhere in the 2010s. I do remember Gameloft being a very big developer, and their games always showed up whenever I was looking on the marketplace. So this game is surrounded by a teenager trying to become a pop star in 2009. You can tell it's the late 2000s, or at least the 2000s in general, because the one and only licensed song in this game is Girlfriend by Avril. I'm laughing because when I tell you this game's main function is you going around playing many different instruments or singing, and they only licensed one song in it, and it's Girlfriend by Avril Lavigne. So you'll be hearing this one song on repeat the whole entire time. And it's all like, if you played mobile games back in the day, lad, you know that was kind of, they weren't the best, but you know, you got what it was worth. There was probably only like $1 or $5 for this game. So for me, right, this game is very interesting because I was born in the year 2001. And so, shut up! Do you know the VHS? Shut up. So I was born in the year 2001. So things like alternative rock music was always popular when I was growing up. Things like alternative fashion was all the rage when I was growing up. Things like rock music was just always, it was the biggest thing. It was akin to modern day rap or modern day K-pop or any other genre of music that is currently popular nowadays. It was just everywhere. I was listening to this older gentleman. I don't know how old he was. If I had to guess, he was probably like in his like early 40s or like mid 30s or something, and he was talking about how 2004's Spider-Man 2 having dashboard confessionals vindicated was such a huge deal for, I don't know what rock people call themselves, rock heads back in the day, but for me, that was just always there. I grew up listening to Nickelback's Hero in Spider-Man 2, in Spider-Man 1 in 2002. I grew up listening to Dashboard Confessionals Vindicated since 2004. That is just my life. I've been in that world since I was a child. Since I was an infant, man. And it's like, I will never understand what it was like to live in a world where rock music was not on top since I was a kid. I only know the descent of rock music as other forms of music have just eclipsed it. Other forms of fashion in pop culture have just taken over the mid 2000s, very early 2010s emo scene in alternative fashion and stuff like that. By the way, I'm not on TikTok nor am I on Twitter, so I have no clue if these things are popular now or if they're making a resurgence. I don't know. I'm not up to date with current day pop culture, nor do I want to be. I simply can't be asked. I'm just speaking from my memory, mate. Testing 1 2 3. This is where I am. This is where I am. I'm sorry. So I have to cut the camera every 30 minutes because otherwise my camera will overheat. And I'll tell you what I was laughing at. We'll probably get to it, but I'll just say skinny jeans. Anyway, so I was born in September. And so growing up, I was always fascinated around the pop culture of modern day. So the 2000s, when it was still current. But because of the grade that I was in, I didn't really have anybody to speak about with these things. And so the reason being that I feel like is the main culprit is because I was born in September and I went to this actually, maybe I shouldn't say what type of school I went to, but I went to a school, and I've heard this rule said a lot growing up. I still hear it to this day, is that September is the cutoff date. So people born in a certain half of September have to start school at a later date or something. And I was affected by that when I first transferred to this new school. Okay, so September is probably the third most populated date with the most babies in it, and I've heard this rule my whole life. I am also the only kid I've ever heard this be affected by. Okay, peep game, because this is some real stuff right here. I was literally in middle school, and I was older than some of the high schoolers. I was in my final year of high school, and I knew kids in college already that I was older than. I guess that doesn't really matter, because in college you'll always have people massively older than you or massively younger than you. But do you understand the dynamic of being in middle school and knowing that there are high schoolers that you were literally older? Okay, so like a year difference shouldn't be that big of an issue. Truthfully speaking, it isn't. But when you're that young, a 2-year difference, 14 to 16, freaking a 4-year difference, 18 to 14, bro, that's massive. Those are on 2 completely different levels. I wouldn't think a year difference, 12 months, mind you, would be such a big thing. But when I think back to my childhood, I'm just all like, everything is starting to make sense. I made a whole video. I was so pissed. I've been so pissed about this recently. I made a whole video about this, talking about how nobody in my grade knew anything about what I was talking about. When I talked about anime, nobody, what's anime? What's that? When I talked about games, what's Tony Hawk? I don't know who Tony is. Oh, are you talking about Skate? I know what that is. PewDiePie played it in 2013. These are my friends. I shouldn't make them sound like that. But it's just all like, there was so much stuff that I was practically having to like, I wouldn't say I was like teaching my classmates, but it's just all like, bro, it got to a point where I stopped bringing stuff up, because it's all like, yo, y'all just don't know this stuff, man. And then I started thinking about it. I was all like, wait, every time I talked about anime, oh, you have to remember, you lot. This is the 2000s. This is the 2000s, very, very early 2010s. So anime was not mainstream. If you were watching anime, you were in the minority. Versus today, if you watch anime, you're like everybody else. This was back when watching anime was not accepted and nobody really knew what anime was. But people in the grade above me, aka the grade I was supposed to be in, knew characters like Sasuke, Sakura, and all that, because we were around that time when YouTube freaking anime music videos were a thing. Like that was all the rage. I would talk about like Kingdom Hearts with this one guy, a grade above me, aka the grade I was supposed to be placed in. We would talk about Kingdom Hearts all the time. I would talk about anime with some of the girls. I would talk about we would talk about like pop culture, like Justin Bieber and stuff together. And I'm just all like, I never had that in the grade that I was in. It's to the point that today, I don't know what was considered popular in the 2000s because I was always alone thinking about it. Everybody knows Justin Bieber, everybody knows Avril Lavigne and stuff like that, but I'll just name you a couple people because even in these videos, when I talk about my favorite game of all time is a game that also encapsulates an era in the 2000s. It's literally an amusement park where you are a teenager or a kid who's a manager of an amusement park and you go around talking to the different attendants, you play games, you make roller coasters, you ride them, and all this stuff. I love that game. And the music of the game is absolutely stellar if you love 2000s pop culture. And so when I talked about it, I didn't know what bands and what groups of people was widespread enough to where if I said it in a video, people would go, oh my gosh, yeah, I remember these people. These people were everywhere back in the day. I wouldn't know because I had nobody to talk to about with it. So like bands like Boys Like Girls, bands like the Veronicas, the Vines, Headley or Headley, it's a Canadian rock band. And it's just like there's a whole group of people, and I know what age group it is too. It's freaking 95ers to 2000s. AKA the group of people who don't exist outside of the fucking internet! I swear to God. I swear on everything. Yo, 95ers to 2000s do not exist in the real world. They are literally a figment of my damn imaginations. The only people, I go outside pretty frequently. I go outside, I work out, I have mini concerts outside. The only people who exist outside, even when I was younger, this isn't a recent thing. This was even when I used to do so many activities. Back when I was younger, I was always the oldest person. Just like in school. Now, only recently has another age group of people been unlocked on my server. And it's early 90s kids. It's young millennials, like people born in 1989 through like 94 or something. Those are the new unlocks. Oh, excuse me. It's early 90s kids and then people born 2005 and younger. So younger Gen Z. So young millennials, young Gen Z. Those are the only groups of people that I ever see outside now. And that ain't even a problem. I love millennials. Brother, I talked about this in the whole video. When I was younger, when I was like 10, I had this amazing assistant teacher. Teacher's assistant. She was 20, I was 10. And I've like consistently since her, I've had such amazing experiences with teachers who are around like 10 to 5 years older than me. We would always talk about games and stuff like that, or pop culture, modern day stuff. Like I always loved interacting and hanging out with like 90s kids or really late 80s kids. Those are my homies, those are my older siblings. But it's like, where are the rest of them? Like 95s to 2000s, they're not real. When I tell you they're not real, they don't exist. And it's like, those are the people that get the fuck out of here, flying bitch. The fuck? It is like, those are the people. That's the group of people. That's that like 5 to 6 year gap of people that I can consistently know what I'm talking about and know the pop culture and references that I want to speak about, but they don't exist outside the internet, man. Why don't y'all go outside, son? Where do you go? Why don't you go outside? Why? But it's like, honestly, at this point, I'm just glad I unlocked a new. I'm just glad some new people got unlocked in my server. Shout out to Millennials, bro. They are really cool people. And you know, like, we can continue to talk about, like, you know, I know they really enjoy Pokemon and letting 13-year-old middle schoolers bully them on TikTok because of skinny jeans. Yo, why did y'all let that happen, son? I'm sorry, I've thought about this for too many years. I'm just so like, bro, at no point in my life do I ever want to get to a point where I have my tax form to fill out next month, but here I am crying on TikTok because a middle schooler called my skinny jeans out of fashion. Bro, come on, son. There's no way y'all let a group of Tide Pod eaters get y'all in y'all feelings. I'm gonna be honest, son. Couldn't be me. As emotional as a person as I am, I will never over skinny jeans. Bro, y'all got pressed by middle school. How? Can we just talk about this? I'm just like, bro. How do you have bills to pay next week and somebody whose only concern in life is if they're gonna pass chemistry 101 has you in tears on TikTok? I'm sorry, bro. Yo, I'm weak. Nah, son. Nah, Brody, but no, me, I love Millennials, bro. Those are my homies, man. Those are my Nah, but like, no, shout out to I guess I love a whole spectrum of people, son. Shout out to my 89ers to freaking. Actually, I'm about to stop shouting out 95ers, yo. Cause at this point, 95ers and 2000s, bro, they don't exist. They straight up don't exist. Shout out to young millennials, yo. Shout out to 89s to 94s, bro. Y'all are absolutely amazing. And I should probably mention this is a joke. Obviously, this is a joke. I love everybody, man. Don't take it seriously. But yeah, this was. I'm gonna be honest. This was kind of a front for me just to speak about the 2000s and the advent of social media and how smartphones have kind of changed the game and all that, and just me finally getting out my gripe about being placed in the wrong class and how that just psychologically messed me up for the rest of my damn life. And I will probably never, ever be in a group of people who actually know what I'm speaking about because they don't exist, because they've been blocked from my server for whatever reason or whatever. But you know, it's been Justice, and I'll see you lot I don't know, in another timeline. Peace.
one day, did you ever really think of me when I walked away? And I wonder if I'm just